Hello fight fans, Mike of Fights with Friends with your morning MMA. We're going to talk Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz. The odds are out on that fight. The ink is not yet wet, but first we're going to talk about Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier, some things they were going through in training camp leading up to this fight and after the fight that I did not know about. Some really dark stuff, some good news for one, not as good for the other. And then we're going to get into Bellator 225, 14 bouts, 14 finishes. Let's start out with that. Bellator has been almost buried by the UFC and ESPN. There's been so much coverage of UFC, I almost forgot about them myself. Now, this fight, the main event, was a rematch between Matt Mitrione and Sergey Kharitonov, where Sergey came in with a subpar cup, it looks like, in Matt Mitrione in the first 15 seconds, kicked him in the groin. Sergey was unable to continue, and 8 months later they had to reschedule this. But before that, starting this off, the son of Royce Gracie, Conor Gracie, got a first round submission victory. Connor Dixon looked very good in his MMA debut. Second round submission. Vitaly Minakov, he looked very impressive, finished his fight. Nick Newell, the one-armed man, he was signed to a one-fight contract with Bellator, and that's because basically they were in his hometown. He more than impressed, got a first round submission, looked very good while doing that. I think they're going to want to secure his services for a long time. And then Tyrell Fortune, a heavyweight prospect, he looked very good finishing his fight. Then you go to the main event, like I said earlier, the first fight between Matt Mitrione and Sergey Kharitonov. Kharitonov had maybe a faulty cup, not the best cup. Matt Mitrione did get him pretty good. He was not able to finish, so that's just not something we really see in MMA. One low blow and the fighter's not able to finish. It's not common. What else is not common is what happened during this fight. And this is the strangest thing. Like I said, 14 finishes, 14 fights. I've never seen anything like this in major MMA. And then you had back-to-back fights with the same fighters, and both fighters coming in different fights with subpar gear. Matt Mitrione somehow lost his mouthpiece, his fitted mouthpiece, a week before this fight. He went to a dental shop, had a new one fitted. He had not worn it before. It had just got to him in time, kept on falling out. The referee said, if it falls out again, I'm going to take a point away. And he was looking very good in the first round. He was winning that first round easily. He was up on his toes. He was throwing his jab out, straight rights. His boxing looked excellent. And he looked like, you know, he was really piecing Sergey up. Then about the fifth time that mouthpiece fell out, and the referee said he was going to take a point away, he started getting, you know, really hesitant to do anything. The second round, Sergey knocks the mouthpiece out and knocks Matt Mitrione out, hits him with a big uppercut and a hook, stops the fight, take nothing away from Sergey Kharitonov. But Matt Mitrione said later, it wasn't the mouthpiece that stopped me. He said it was my mental inability to deal with the mouthpiece falling out, the distraction. And he admitted that, you know, that was a mistake on his part, and, you know, something he could have done differently, even though the mouthpiece, you know, was not there for him. But great card. Good to see Bellator coming back. Big Scott Coker in the news after that too, said Ryan Bader is the greatest heavyweight on the planet. I don't think anybody believes that. I don't even think he believes that. Not quite sure why he said it. I know Ryan Bader won the tournament over there, but he's not beating a lot of people in the UFC. He's not coming close to Daniel Cormier, Stipe Miocic, John Jones, a lot of people over there. And as good as Bellator is in a lot of divisions, like Douglas Lima, Roy McDonald, Gegard Mousasi, Rafael Lovato Jr., all the good people they've gotten over there, Hyoji Horiguchi. Their heavyweight division is absolutely anemic. It's a nursing home. They're dragging out Roy Nelson here soon. He's literally like 43 years old. I think Czech Congo is either 45 or 46. He's going to be fighting Bader for the title. It's just not the case that Ryan Bader he doesn't have the competition there. Let's get into Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier next, though, before Nate and Masvidal. So leading into that fight with Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier, they were both dealing with something horrible that I did not know. Daniel Cormier and Stipe Miocic, both of their fathers have been diagnosed with cancer in the last year. They were dealing with, high level, high stage cancer. And they got some news this week. Stipe Miocic bought a new house, got his belt back, and now he gets the clean bill of health on his father, cancer-free. Congratulations to Stipe and the Miocic family for that peace of mind. And then turning the other corner, though, I know Miocic will be sympathetic towards the other end. Daniel Cormier a few days ago posted on Twitter that he has lost his father to terminal cancer. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Daniel Cormier and the Cormier family. We do have to talk about what is next for both of these guys as far as fighting, though. Let's start out with Stipe Miocic. Stopped Daniel Cormier in the 4th round. Has the most title defenses of any heavyweight fighter ever, and Francis Ngannou is chomping at the bit to get a rematch. You also have John Jones. Stipe has said he's very interested in fighting John Jones. If John was to come up to heavyweight, I think that they could make that happen with Jones. I think it's just a matter of money. And then Brock Lesnar's always waiting in the wings, just finished WrestleMania. Would he come back and be interested in Stipe Miocic fight for enough money? Let me know who you guys want to see in that. But Daniel Cormier, he did not retire after the bout. He is pushing 41. And if he did come back, it would be, I imagine, for a 3rd match with Stipe Miocic. If not that, a rematch from Jones at heavyweight might get him back, but I think he would want to get that belt first. But I also know he wants that back from Jones, and if he got him at heavyweight, a lot of people would say, yeah, even with a no contest, John Jones, you got 2 at light heavyweight. So if Cormier came back and won it at light heavyweight, they'd still say it's 2-1. But if Cormier beat him at heavyweight, you could say, hey, look, yeah, he got me at light heavyweight, but I got him at heavyweight. And I did everything else, along the way, and really cement his legacy. His legacy is already cemented, one of the greatest fighters in the history of the UFC. But Nate Diaz looked spectacular in his last match against Anthony Pettis. First round was a little slow, actually looked a little tired for moments, but really picked it up in the 2nd round. We know he's always a slow starter. A lot of people said it looked like he was tired and then got a second wind in the 2nd and 3rd. I don't know if that was the case or if he was just, he's a slow starter. A little bit of ring rust. Possibly he was a little tired and got a second win. I'm not sure, but he looked spectacular. Almost finishing Pettis, dominated him on the ground, and then did the smart thing, I thought, calling out Jorge Masvidal afterwards. Masvidal is all in on this. Dana White says he's happy. So odds came out for this, but first, the ink is not wet yet. Dana White said there's still some business to be done. There's a difference in business, so I imagine that's a money issue. Dana, just give them each $1 million. Nate Diaz made $250,000 for this one. I imagine maybe they offered them $400 or $500 apiece. I'm not sure. This is the biggest fight, definitely the biggest non-title fight in all of MMA. I think it's the biggest fight in MMA, period. I say you just give them each $1 million. Let this thing happen. Don't let this thing not happen over a couple $100,000 when you know that the UFC is just going to rake it in off of this. So the odds came out. Masvidal is a very slight favorite, -115 to Nate Diaz, -105, almost even. I agree with that at the moment. I have to watch some tape and kind of think about how each will react to the other style, and you know, how what Nate does will be countered by Masvidal or counters Masvidal, and vice versa. But East versus West, we could be coming into the biggest East Coast, West Coast rivalry literally since Tupac and Biggie. These guys know how to sell fights. A lot of people were at that event just to see Nate Diaz. A lot of people bought that pay-per-view just to see Nate Diaz. And Jorge Masvidal has never been hotter, coming off of the 5-second knockout of Ben Askren. And besides that, just hot on the mic, hot in the cage. Both of these guys are on fire. Can't wait to see them get in there. I want to know what you guys think, though. Who do you think Stipe should fight? Should Daniel Cormier retire? Who should he fight next? What's next for Bellator? Are they back with this card? And Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal, what do you guys think of that matchup? Is it as big a matchup as I say it is? How much do you think these guys should get paid? Or should we even know what they get paid? Somebody just say, hey, they got taken care of. Let me know down there in the comments down below. I'm going to do an MMA Monday from now on, every Monday. Don't forget tomorrow, Tuesday Night Trivia and Dana White Contender Series. I'll be live at 5. But let me know what you think about all this down in the comments. Please hit that like button. Subscribe if you are new here. As always, I love you. I respect you. And I'll see your fine asses later.